Right, in this tutorial we're going to take a look at the CSS3 pseudo-class selectors. Now, pseudo-class selectors. Pseudo-class selectors basically they select elements based on their state, not on their names. A good example of this would be the links, anchor tags. In the CSS, when we style an anchor tag, we say we write a colon hover or a colon active, and it's the colon that signifies the use of the pseudo class. So we will open up Dreamweaver here and take a look at what we have. Now again, we have a basic page here. Just a title, link to the style sheet. We have in the body, we have a div and an ID of wrapper. Now this is the container div. Everything on the page will be contained within this. Then we have three divs that we will float left to give the idea of three columns. So the left column just has some H2 tags, some paragraph tags, and they're just in there so that we can target them with the pseudo classes. The middle column have an ID of center and has an unordered list with 10 list items, and the third column has an ID of right and it has 2 image tags in there. Right, and that's basically it for the HTML. Again, we won't get bogged down with this end of it. Presumably you're already familiar with all the code on this page, so we will dive straight into the CSS and we will take a look at it. Now, just for styling purposes, I have a bunch of resets here. Just give the image tag some margin, some top margin. We style the font, just give the font a colour, a size, a font style, a background colour. Here we have the container div. We give that a width, a min height. We give it a border, some padding, some margin, and basically the same with the three columns, left, centre and right. We will, we're floating them left, we give them all an equal width, equal height. Font sizes in each one are slightly different. Text line, borders, margins, paddings, usual stuff, and the list items we give a list style of none. So we'll dive into the pseudo-class selector syntax. The first thing we will look at is the first child. Now I probably should have mentioned that there's 4 categories of pseudo-class selectors. The structural pseudo-classes, where this basically is where an element is positioned. The pseudo-states, which is things like hover, active. There's form-specific pseudo-classes. We won't go into those because there's quite a few of those, and they're beyond the scope of this tutorial, which is just an introduction to the pseudo classes. And then lastly, for last of the categories, is the negation pseudo class. We will take a look at that in a little bit more detail later. But the first category of pseudo class we will look at is the structural pseudo classes, and the first structural pseudo class we will look at is the first child pseudo class. Now, first child pseudo class have been around for quite a while. A lot of people are not familiar with it, but basically what it does is it targets the first child element of a parent element. Now what this means is, if we jump back over to the source code, we look at the first column, we have div with an ID of left, and we have 1, 2, 3 H2 tags. So if we jump back over here into the CSS, we will see we're targeting the element with an ID of left, the H2 tag within that, colon first child, background, and give the background, I think that's a light grey colour. So we will jump over to a browser, we will start with Firefox. Okay, so here we have the left column, and here we have the 3 H2 tags. Now the first child of this left column, the first H2 tag child of this left column is this one, and if you remember, we gave the background the colour of CCC, which is grey, and here we see it has been applied. So we will shoot back over here to Dreamweaver, and another structural pseudo-class is the first letter. So we could say P, so it's targeting all paragraphs tags on the page, and the parent element of this is the body tag, because one is not specified. So this will look at every P tag on the page, and it will target the first letter of every P tag and set the font size to 150%, which, as you can see here, here is a paragraph tag, and here is the first letter, is 150%. So yeah, that works pretty cool. Now we will do the easy ones. We'll jump down to the end child. Now the end child basically allows us to specify a particular child rather than the first child. We can specify which one by using a number. So we will say 3 in this case. We'll just say 3, and we give it a colour of white that is already in there. So we give it a colour of, we'll say black. Now, I forgot to say where we are actually. We're looking at an unordered list and the list items within the unordered list. So this will pick the third list item in the unordered list, and it will colour the background black. So we will jump over to Firefox and refresh the browser, and as you can see, the third list item is 1, 2, 3. Handily numbered, number 3, and the background is indeed black. Now there's a couple of things you can do with this in child. We can also specify not only a number, we can say odd. This will give every odd number a background colour of black. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. We can also specify even down here, and just for the purposes here, I will give it a background of white. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 with a background of white. So that's the end child selector. So this brings us on to the end of type. And as with end child, this can either be a number, odd or even, or a number expression. However, this matches a child of a specific element type, while end child matches any child. Now what this means is it targets children of a particular type. So in this case, the example we give here is we're looking at the right hand side column, the third column. So that is, if you look back over here, the third column has 2 images and it has an ID of right. So the types, the element types we'll be targeting within this div is the image tags. Now, back to the CSS. So we will say the element with an ID of right, the image tags within that element, end of type 1, so the first image tag within the element with an ID of right. We give it a border, a 6 pixel solid border, a 6 pixel solid red border. And that is indeed what it has there, but just to reiterate, I will give it 10 pixel solid white border. Oh, actually, excuse me, I looked at the black there. I'll give the white a 20 just to overemphasize the fact that it is indeed only targeting that particular one. Now, as we've just seen, we could say enter type 2, which is the second image type, inside the element with an ID of right, border 10 pixels, solid, oh, I don't know, we'll say green. And there we have it. So I suppose the last thing to look at in this tutorial, hope I'm not moving too fast, but the last thing to look at is the negation pseudo-classes. As I said before, we're not looking at the form-specific pseudo-classes, and we're already familiar with the states. We should be at this stage, as in the A link, A hover, A active, A selected. Yeah, so this brings us on to the negation selector. Now what this does is it excludes a specified element within a group of elements. So we're looking at the wrapper div here. So the element with an ID of wrapper, which is the container here. So that is this one here, and we're specifically targeting the divs within that container. So if you will see, there's 1, which is the ID of left, 2, which is the ID of center, and 3, which is the ID of right. So what we will do here, we will say div : not ID center. So that will target all divs inside the wrapper except the element with an ID of center. And it will apply a background color, which is a kind of a creamy yellow color, I think. So basically, like I said, that applies a background color to all divs inside the wrapper div except the div with an ID of center. If we jump over, we'll see that this is the yellowy color. Here we have a yellowy color, but here we have no color at all. I will take out the ones, the enchild, the ones that are targeting the list elements, because we can't really see what's going on there. And they should just pick up the background styling, right? That's fine. So I could change that to left, save it out, and now the left one will not have the cream coloured background, but the middle will, should. So there you have it. Again, that's quite simple, but can be quite useful regarding form search results, or search results based on user input style in a particular way. But as you can see, all of the above can be quite useful. So that brings us to the end of this tutorial, and we will see you in the next tutorial, where we will take a look at CSS3 media queries.